Okay, so we are which team?
Red team.
Red team, and we're the bat. We're the Lucio.
The Lucio Canadian.
Okay. Oh wait, what the? All right, so we are running classical brawl meta. I let's see what they if they stay. So yeah, they're gonna have a tracer, and we are gonna have a Mei. So let's keep that in mind. This is good. This is ideal for us. Okay, just clean engagement. We're going super hard. Alright, so with Brawl, let me just ask you really quick. Our comp versus theirs, we have the Mei Cree, they have the Tracer Cree. Who has more poke? Like, mid-fight.
Mid-fight, I want to say they do.
They do, yeah. Mainly because this Tracer has access to pretty much infinite angles because she's Tracer and she can blink wherever she wants. And if you actually look at what's going on here, we're pushing, we land a nice wall, but he lives because of that lamp. And now if we actually look at our positioning here, just as a team, what's going on here? Look at their
Kind of left out in
DPS.
the
Yeah, we're left out in the open, and
surrounded.
then look at their DPS.
Yeah, they surrounded pretty hard.
They're
We're not
pinching
applying
us.
pressure.
Exactly. They're pinching us really, really good. As Brawl, it's like the last thing we want. Um, so there's a few things you could do from here. So, did we use lamp? I really don't think we did.
We did.
Oh fuck, we did. So that's fine. We traded lamps. Honestly, lamp is more valuable to them than it is to us because if we wall Ryan, he's dead without lamp. So let's see what do we do from here. I think we're probably just gonna lose because we're just gonna get spammed out, and then I'm gonna tell you how to fix it. I mean, we could still win this little skirmish here, but it's messy. It's not a definitive fight win, and we still are gonna lose. Okay, so let's look at that. With Brawl, what do we? Where do we want to be playing as Brawl? Uh,
Probably just like right next to my Ryan.
well, yeah, that's. I mean, you as a person, yeah, sure, you could be playing near your Ryan, usually, or hopefully at least elevated on a wall or something. But as Brawl, and they're Brawl too, but they have more poke than us. So this means we have to play corners super well. If we go into this open space, it has to be for a kill. And that's exactly what we're doing, but once we realize Ryan's just not killable, oh wait, no, he does die anyways, but once we kill Ryan, I should say, this is time for us to actually just reset, and, well not reset, but you know,
Stabilize our W.
stabilize, exactly, stabilize it and reposition for another engage. Think of it like dive. Once you dive, you don't want to stay in the fight for too long because you're not going to have your abilities. You want to wait for Winston Bubble for the other engage. You know, it's similar to that, but just a less extreme. Like you don't have to like jump back and like set up as Winston, blah blah blah. All you have to really do here is just reset the angles. Just like all right, we're going back here. Just chill for a second, because we have all the time in the world. Ron will be back in 10 seconds. We have 10 seconds to make a play to get another kill without dying. So how does this? How do we? What's the biggest threat right now? How do we make sure that we do not get killed?
I think we just need to back up and kill the
Yeah,
Gray. And just
yeah.
walk away from the
The the
Tracer.
the biggest threat for us are these off angles. So once, especially if we kill this round, even if we don't kill this round, we want to just reset really quick and stabilize. Just either hide behind here. It's probably your best bet. You could go back into here if you want and make another rush engage. That could be your best bet. But you have to make some sort of move here. Staying out in open space is the last thing Brawl wants to do. And if you're gonna be like the planner, shot call, or whatever, I don't know if you're actually like calling mid fight. Are you? Like, are you
Uh,
talking a lot mid fight?
I am, but sometimes it's just the tempo is based on our main tank.
Okay. So yeah, that's just something you should work on with your main tank. Be like, listen, yo, this is not favorable for you at all. Cause like, look at this. What is Ryan? What can Ryan do here?
Yeah, he can't hit W on anyone.
He can't. He needs momentum and he needs tempo, right? He can't just he can't just walk without momentum because look at how much damage he's taking before he actually gets the opportunity to kill that bat. It's like, yeah, we kill the bat, but now we're super out of position. And then yeah, we leave it to 1v1s. Just a rule of thumb, if we're up in a fight, for instance like this, after we kill this Ryan, do we want to be taking risks or do we want to or do we want to play safe? I don't know why I
Play
couldn't word
safe.
that.
They're the
Yeah.
ones that want to take risks because they already lost.
Yeah. They're the ones that want to take risks and make plays. For instance, like this. This is a play right here. Making this off angle. This is something he has to do to get back in this fight. And we have to pretty much prevent this as much as possible. Because if we see this, and you see this, you could say, speed on McCree, destabilize back up. You could speed on him if you want, but the main idea here is to actually just stabilize and either flush him out. Like, you have D.Va, who is really, really good at this, and that's why she's picked over Zarya, because she could actually deal with this. Zarya can't deal with this as well. But D.Va could pretty much shut that down. You know, she's doing her own thing up here, but these are just the things you have to be aware of in this brawl. Oh shit, that's the wrong person entirely. Yeah, this is good. Like we're playing with Orion. This is about the best we could do micro wise, but if we're talking from a macro aspect, if you're thinking about comms to make, stabilize is a really good one. Just stabilizing behind the corner. And if the McCree's killable, you have to either at least speed on him. D.Va has to be aware. You can't let him off angle, or else you're gonna lose those winnable fights.
Yeah, so at that point, I should ask my D.Va for help because like I want to poke him out, but I can't
Yeah.
take a 1v1 and I can't red it on him because he has flash.
Well, you don't need to specifically be talking to D.Va, and you definitely don't want to take that 1v1. Because, like I said, we don't want to be taking risks. What are 1v1s?
Yeah, definitely a risk.
It's a risk because, even if you had a 50% chance versus the McCree, which you don't because he's McCree and you're Lucio, it's still not worth it. Because we have, say, I don't know, a 70% chance of winning the fight since we killed the Ryan and we have a Ryan. It's a 5v6. We probably have a 70% chance of winning that fight. So you never want to take risks when you're up in the fight. Like if it's like a 3v6 you're cleaning up, sure, just roll them over real quick. But when it's like a 5v6, 4v6, it's close, you have to make sure you're aware of who we lose compared to who they lose and how that affects the actual fight. So
Yeah.
let's see if stuff like that actually happens here. I like this, just taking high ground. I mean, it just depends how much poke we take. So from this corner, that's where we want to be making our engagement, which we do. Beautiful. Where's our McCree set up? Is he with us? Is that him? Yeah, he's hiding right there. I mean, this is fine. Oh shit, this is fine. But I would like to see a few more off angles from McCree. It is hard since they have two guys that's going to be roaming the flanks and we only have one. So it is hard for him. So let's actually see what happened again. I think the same exact thing happened this fight. So look at this. So they're baiting you, honestly. They're just baiting you. They're not trying to win this core fight. They know that they're not gonna kill Urian here or whatever. Like they're nooning kind of prematurely, but the reason they're nooning is to pretty much buy time for mainly this to happen. For their tracer to make your Kree screw off. But I would have preferred their McCree to take an angle, but if you look at this now, like, we committed an ult to this. We committed an ult to open space. And now we have to run an open space ourselves as a team. And this is not formidable at all for us. Look at this. We ran into another choke, or not choke, another pincer, I should say. Pincer, pinch, lots of different coaches use different terms. You could, use whatever term you want, but this is the last thing you want. Boom, boom, boom. It's just, you're basically surrounded. You don't have a corner to play around, or Orion doesn't at least. So yeah, just it seems as a team we're not really efficient with our engages. Um, let's go to the next fight and see if there's a better example for me to actually
How could we have cleaned that
explain
fight
upon.
up though?
Um,
Because I know we're getting pincered, but how do we either prevent it or
yeah. So
deal with it?
just the biggest rule of thumb for Brawl, in my opinion, is you need to be playing from corners. Whether that's holding a corner, engaging from a corner, the corners like are your safe space. Very, very little time do you see like high level brawls like stay in open space for too long. They're either tightly holding this or they're playing some sort of corner. So I mean we could look at the fight again to see if that happens. I would love to bring up a good example, but I don't have one of like pro. But once
Yeah, it's
owl
alright.
once owl really starts going on, I'll definitely find an example pretty quickly, because they're probably gonna play brawl, and they're probably gonna do that. So the reason I don't love high ground is why
Open
as brawl.
space, they can pincer.
Yeah, it's open space. Although high ground acts as a corner for DPS players pretty much, or like even support players like backline supports. Because if you actually think about it, it's like a horizontal corner, right? Like you could it's the same properties as a corner. You could peek and then or you could peek and then dip. Same thing as peek dip. So it's the same properties as a corner, but once you drop, you don't have the option to go back up as this comp at least. So it's almost like wide peeking a corner super super hard. Think about it like that. Like you
Mhm.
can't go back. So once we drop from here, we have to be setting up here, going this way, that way. Obviously not through here. That would just be suicide. But we want to be setting up here, which we do. But now we want to be setting up our angles. So like I said earlier, it's a little bit scary for Kree against this comp because they have Tracer and a Kree of their own on the flanks, so it's not like he only has his counterpart to deal with. But I would like to see him at least take this or this, because this makes them just turn around while we pincer from here, and then we have a pincer. We want to be creating our pincer, and we don't have as many options to do that as they do. But that's still how you want to be playing this comp. You want to, like, if you actually think about it, what is Mei so good at, and how does how does Kree complement that?
I mean, May kind of splits the team off.
hmm
So
She splits the team off. She's really good at playing with Orion. Kree doesn't really want to be like shield breaking and stuff. Like he wants to be doing damage, whether that's from an off angle here, an off angle here, some sort of off angle. He could be even coming from here or here. I'm fond of this because if their diva really wants to peel back, like this is scary because, like I said, once again they have just more like flankers and stuff. But generally, say they didn't have a tracer, this is like a really good angle to peek as Kree, because then you set up a pincer. Their Baptiste has to make a decision: either walk forwards to their team or dip. Well, she's probably just going to walk forwards to the team, and then look at you have people coming from here, you McCree from here. And the main reason why pincers are so scary is because, actually, I'm asking you, why are pincers so scary, and who are they the most scary for?
they force you into like shitty angles because if Bap has to walk forward, he's
hmm
walking forward into our Rhine, a May, a Lucio, a Diva,
Exactly.
etc.
It makes the enemy support's day super hard and super scary. Um, so that's definitely something to like. I'm kind of treating this as somewhat of a macro view, even though, I mean, I should be treating it as micro. But this has to do with you because you were like the shot caller, shot or like planner or something. So that's how we clean this up. We need this other corner because look, they could just kite for free. They could just back this way for free. Imagine if we had McCree here instead of here in the mix where he's just not doing much. Like say what he were to do, like I don't know. Say he were to unload a whole clip on the Rhine shield. Doing that is less valuable than meddling with the Baptiste, trying to get him to either use lamp on himself or whatever, and the time that you're distracting him, that's the time that their Ryan's not getting healed. So that's just a power of pincers. See, it's like they just kite here for free. We just don't have angles set up at all. If Kree was here or something like that, they would not be able to kite like that. So that's
Okay, yeah.
easily the main thing right now. We're just putting ourselves in pincers, and we're not setting up pincers ourselves. So how can we improve that? Honestly, the main thing is McCree. Like, you can't really like do this as Lucio or whatever. Like, we just have to get him comfortable in taking off angles. And this doesn't mean like, oh, he just goes on his own, like good luck. This is like, okay, you're going on an off angle. We're gonna keep you in touch of what we're actually doing. Like, say like he's a tracer flanking and dive. We don't want to just be like, okay, screw the chaser, they'll do their own thing. We want to actually set up an engagement with the tracer and the monkey, diving somewhere at the same time. So whether that's monkey coming from here and then tracer coming from here or here, it's the same thing with McCree and this comp. Like, if he were to set up here or something, like, this is like a powerful angle, especially if we're rolling through main. That we set up here, because then we have options from here. We could either go right, left, and then McCree goes the opposite way. I mean, those are kind of our options. Like, we don't want to just rush down main, which we did the first time. So, like, I mean, let's just see our McCree again. Like, in Overwatch, we almost never, like, there's very, very few comps that you actually want to stack as 6. Very, very few. Like, Goats, yeah, sure. That's not a thing anymore. Like, Sim TP, that's probably the other one. And our Diva's actually doing a solid job of setting up her little off angles, because it's pretty much going to be Diva and Kree. Those are the main off anglers with this comp. He's like, she's chilling up here. I want to see McCree come here, and then us just barrel through main. That's the engagement I want to see right here. But obviously they wouldn't know, so that messes up our plans a little bit. I mean, let me ask you, do you want to keep doing this macro stuff, or do you want me to, like, hone in on you?
Preferably micro, because like
Okay.
I can't do much about the
Yeah, I
Diva
know.
and the Kree.
Yeah, no. I'm just explaining why this comp is, because a lot of people, even, like, high-ranked players like, you guys, like, are good players. Like, it's just facts. Like, once you get to, like, 4K, like, you're just a good player. You guys are, like, playing, like, 4.4 scrims, that's pog. So, if you want to compete with these guys, yeah, your playing skill may be, near par, but they're just baiting you, and they're just, they're just kind of playing you here, almost. So, this is really good knowledge to have just as anyone. Because this window gets so much more value because our whole team is here, rather than
Once
if
again.
we were on flanks, right? So that's just how we want to think about it. Like, you don't want to rush down main as 6 with this comp. Like, absolutely not. So, like, you notice how we're not just, like, setting up an engagement, really? Like, as Lucio, this is you. Like, you're the guy that's, like, wants to be monitoring this tempo here. This is good. I like the setup, but, like, where do we start from? We start from where?
Main.
Main, but we didn't start from here. We started from here. What's better
Yeah.
about this? We have
We
this
have an
corner.
angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have just backed here.
Yeah. The main thing I want you to think about is you have the corner, because if you come from here, it takes, like, you could easily die on your way back to this corner because of that window. But from here, once you see that window, like you said, you have the option to just go back. Like, oh, yeah, sorry. Maybe we go this way instead. Maybe we see you guys later. I want you to be in charge for your team of, like, calming these rotations, because I'm not sure if your Ryan is going to. As Lucio, this is something that you could be doing all the time, thinking about where we want to go, like, thinking about what we want to do. That's nice, but where we want to go is, like, probably just as important. and especially with the quick decisions, like mid-fight, if you see this, you have to instantly think, okay, we're gonna get fucked if we just run through here. Because if you just look at the numbers, they do literally double damage. So instead, we could either come from here. I mean, coming from here would be a lot less of a clean engagement, but like I'm gonna say this is on the Lucio here.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then from here, watch as like it's just hard to set up an engagement from here once you've already spent resources to actually get from here to here. So yeah, it's like kind of a skirmish, like just like it's almost just messy. And if we look at it, do we comp versus comp? Do we like messy fights or do they like messy fights?
I think we like messy fights because we're Brawl.
Well, you can make that argument, but you have to play super tight knit, and yeah. So I wouldn't call it messy, but you got yeah. I'm gonna say that they are mainly because they have more angle control, and they with the tracer they just have way more mobility than us. We want to be setting up clean, structured engages. That's what we want to
Oh
be
yeah,
doing.
true.
That's what we want to be doing. So whether it's from here, like clean, structured engages, from a corner onto the enemy, usually with some sort of off angle from our McCree. So this is kind of last ditch right here. I'm not even sure if we're gonna, we can probably touch. Maybe. Unfortunate. So yeah, the main thing is like the angles. Like if you just look back fight by fight, we're just always just getting screwed by angles. And the way to fix that is actually clean engagements. Because if you start engaging and then decide this is not favorable, you should be, or I should say, you should not be scared to be like, all right, let's just get the fuck out of here. Like I'm just gonna disengage. Like this is, for instance, when they have the window up, on the point we just saw. Obviously, our first reaction should be, all right, let's get out of here. This is not favorable for us. We want to just, even if it's like a small percent chance, even if we have, say, a little bit above 50% chance to win the fight because they use like a few cooldowns, that could be enough to engage. But once they use, an ult or something, or we use an ability, and then we're like, oh shit, we can't go in, we have to be hiding behind corners and finding a different way. There's always another way. There's always another angle. Like, very few times are there only one way to run as Brawl. And if you actually see some of the best Brawl teams, like, their rotations are, like, often weird. Because, like, they catch the other team off guard. Like, don't be afraid to make weird, like, crazy rotations. As long as they're clean, oh shit. Like, as long as they're clean, they'll work. So I expect us to go left here. So, from here. Do we want to be poking here? Or do we want to start an engagement? Alright, this is fine.
We're starting engagement.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. This is good. We flip the map here. So this is exactly the type of rotation that I want to see from you guys. Because what does this do specifically to their McCree, I guess? Because they're now on a mirror. What angles would he take, say we're still here, what angles would he take coming off the bat? I mean, he could have taken high ground already, which you could not have done shit about. But you're basically, forcing him to rotate, and you guys are faster than the McCree.
Yeah.
Right? Like, unless he wants the Lucio to speed him to his angle, like, he's not getting there in time. So now, it's a one angle versus one angle, just a full-out brawl. So let's see how this goes down. This is just going to come down to ability usage, almost primarily. So actually, let's just restart because I didn't see everything that happened. So the biggest ability here is Amp. I'm pretty sure we use Amp, and in my opinion, it was a little bit too early. So this is good, but we have to recognize that, alright, Brawl v Brawl, Mei v Mei, this is meta v meta right here. We've got to realize that, yeah, once we amp speed, we're going to get walled off, and now we're not going to have a corner to play around. So rather than playing super aggro in open space, we want to almost sustain until this wall breaks, or we could break the wall ourselves, And then after that happens, then we want to amp speed in. Because we don't want to be trading wall for amp speed, because that's our engagement tool. That's how we want to really get in and get kills and put pressure on them. But if we're trading it for wall, we're not getting any value out of our kid as Lucio here. Because, like, yeah, we could boop the Ron back. We could have, you know, like, 2 heals per second. But there isn't a whole lot we can do when it comes to actually setting up the engagement, which is our job as Lucio. So luckily, they just, like, fall or whatever in the pit. They got booped or whatever. So this is a messy fight, so we'll see how this goes. I mean, we're staying grouped at least. That's a little bit better, but McCree is also not taking angles. So yeah, if we actually like look, like this is just a skirmish right here. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty messy for what was it, 4-3 scrims? This is This is a little messy for 4-3 scrims. Like, again, you guys are really good players individually, but if you like master this macro stuff and like get on the same page, like your comms are probably all over the place. That's just my guess. Am I wrong? Like, is there just a lot of people talking at once, or
Yeah.
or not? Yeah. So my recommendation is you should give yourself a few certain things to call, especially as Lucio, and make sure your team knows that you're going to call these things during the scrim or a match, whatever. So the first thing is when you're engaging. Like, the timing has to be perfect, and not just the timing of everyone running through this corner, but the timing of our McCree coming from an angle. So I want you to work on that, like, as a caller. That's the first thing. The second thing is I want you to be thinking about where can we rotate from? Where can we rotate to, I should say, from wherever we are. So if we go back to the example on whichever map it was, not that map, but that map, we could have made some pog rotations, like either left or right, but we kind of just barreled it down main almost every fight, which just led us to getting poked out, and then we pretty much went into an ambush. Like, we put ourselves into an ambush of angles, and because they had the tracer and the Kree. Those are the two things. Just where you, like, as Lucio, that's like the main thing. Where do we want to be going, and when do we want to be doing it? You have to have your team like on board with that. But as a team, you guys should be engaging from corners and then playing from corners, because that gives your BAP safety. That gives your Ryan the option to stop taking damage, which is probably the biggest thing, aka stabilizing. Corners is pretty much a necessity in this comp. I actually made like a kind of a rant-ish doc about how I think Brawl should be played here. That I could send you, and maybe you and your team could look at it, but it's a little ranty, so it's not structured, so kind of just like pick what you find useful. So this is okay. I'm surprised our team didn't barrel in as hard. So yeah, this is good. I like how you're elevated here, you're trying to get a boop. But the team wasn't really with it, which is weird.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna play up a door.
Yeah, I would think so too, especially with our Mei. So this is a lack of communication between, I guess you and Mei, and then Ryan.
Yeah.
Like, you and Mei, they were trying to hold us pretty hard. I think our BAP was on the same page, but...
Yeah, I usually say I'm going for a boop, but I guess I should say, like, I'm going for a boop, play up.
Yeah. Or don't even say you're going for a boop, because that's, like, micro and kind of irrelevant. I would just say, let's hold this choke.
Yeah.
Like, for Ryan, he loves just abusing these chokes, because he could just swing, cleave, like, 3-4 people, maybe. And then he could just do this, and he could wait for his abilities to come back in. Ryan is not a character that wants to stay in the fight for a long time. He wants to be able to go in fully juiced, and when I mean fully juiced, full shield, full HP, ready to rock, you know, with a Zarya bubble or defense matrix to protect him. He wants to be doing that and just going in. Like, characters like Sigma and Orisa, they are high uptime, consistent uptime tanks. Ryan, you want uptime with him, but you want uptime in spikes. And that is very relevant to this comp. You want uptime in spikes, rather than just like poking out, in this free for all style that you guys are kind of playing here. You want to be cleanly engaging and then getting out when you have to, when you need to, juice up your Ryan. Because look, we have no options now. We have literally no options. We're not decisively setting up anything really, because the gift that corner grants us is that once again we can stabilize, we can run to them, like and then once we run to them, that sets up our BAP and our Mei on this angle. But now we're in open space, we have no means of actually stabilizing. We can't stabilize now. The wall makes it harder, but just us being in open space is the catalyst of that. Now BAP has to risk his life. And again, there isn't a whole lot you can just do as Lucio to instantly fix this. But you have to give a structure to your team. You have to give like a pathing structure. Maybe your Ryan's a pather, but you have to be like on the same page pathing wise all day.
Alright.
This is good. Like micro wise, you seem to be fine when it comes to your wall riding. Yeah, that's the reaction you want to see. Just speed out. But from here, I'll just be telling Ryan to chill because he's dumb low.
So do you consider holding an angle part of pathing there?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, it just depends what you want to do with this corner. If you want to hold this corner with Ryan and let them come through and we swing at them, that's different than as a team we're going to peek this corner. Because if as a team we're going to peek this corner, we want our Ryan to be here at the next corner and then our backline set up here at this corner. We don't, like, the most ideal setup is for both of our guys to be playing some sort of corner. Preferably not the same, because they could, like, our BAP doesn't really want to be in the brawl, which he was forced to do to save our Ryan. He doesn't really want to be in the brawl, but we have to decide what we want to use these corners for. We could use them to peek. We could use this corner as actually a choke, so we could use this choke to abuse with our Mei wall, with our Reinhardt. So we have to be decisive in how we actually want to be playing these engagements. These are things we have to be saying. Like, yeah, we're going to be holding this choke, not this choke. Obviously, you don't have to go into exactly what I said. Like, yeah, support speed, peek, back corner, blah blah blah. You don't have to coach the team, but you just have to say, Ryan, let's hold this choke.
Okay, yeah.
So like something as simple and plain as that. Or Mei, let's try and get a wall off at this choke. Or we could be like, no, let's not play there. Let's actually play this choke. Like, these are super basic and like simple things that you could be saying that instantly just improve the structure of these team fights. Because as a team, we're not really sure what we want to be doing. Like, we have to be planning here. Like, yeah, making spontaneous decisions are part of Brawl, but we have to be planning. I mean, yeah, obviously not only our ults, but we have to be specifically planning how we want to be playing here. And a lot of that is based on our ults, actually. So that's something to keep in mind, too. So here, let's just talk about, planning with ults, I guess. So we have Bomb, and we have Blizzard. We have Beat, we're close to Shatter. Say we're just perfect at ult tracking. We're just going to assume they have almost everything except for Mei ult. So what can we do here? They have ults, we have ults. What do we want to do?
Oh, we want to wall off, split them, freeze first, and get a pick on whoever gets walled off or frozen.
Okay, but what if they ult? What if they ult before that?
We can either kite with freeze or beat.
Yeah. So there's tons and tons of different options and combinations you could use here. But the main thing I want you to recognize is we have to ult first. And that's not necessarily running at them with all of our ults. That's baiting them into what I like to call a kill box or a kill zone. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Term? We want to be baiting them into that. For us, it would probably be here, especially for like a Blizzard. Because if they're here, their backline, and say their backline pushes up, to here, their backline is going to have a lot harder time actually closing this corner slash angle to the blizzard, and they're probably going to get frozen. So this is probably our kill box right here. So what does this mean? Do we want to be playing here right now or not? If that's our plan, say that's our plan. Do we want to be doing this or not?
We want to let him in.
Yeah, exactly. We want to let them in. You know, we don't want to give them this chance or this opportunity here, because what can they do from here? They can ult first. We don't want them to ult first here. We want to be on the aggressive. We want them to be on their heels. As Brawl, very little do you want to be on your heels. You know, controlling and stabilizing, that's not being on your heels, that's just controlling the fight. But running away, being on your heels, like we've been for a good amount of time this entire map, that's like the last thing we want to be doing. So see, notice how. So I'm assuming we planned to ult here.
Yeah.
But we didn't actually plan how we were gonna get them there. So, the best way is just to let them go where they go. I mean, obviously we want to hold and deny space, but if they make this rotation, we can't do that much about that. If anything, this is better for freeze. If anything, you know, say we're scouting and we, or you're probably going to be the scouter, you and Diva, and you guys notice that, okay, they're not going here, they're going here. That's a spontaneous decision for you to speed in and blizzard. So let me ask you, where should we be here? Where should we be?
If the plan is to let them in, then we want to be back by those two walls, kind of where Bap is.
Orion? Yeah, I would prefer Orion to just pretty much chill here. May right with them, and you could be kind of close to him too, except maybe above, so you could actually scout. So from here, again, what do we want Orion to be? We want Orion to be fully juiced, ready to go. The more poke he takes mid-fight, you know, the lesser chance you actually have of winning the actual brawl once it starts. So, if he starts here, and then you're like, okay, 3, 2, oh wait, no, they're rotating left, rotating left. Just say you're like right here, they're rotating left. Okay, they blizzarded, just get out. Oh no, we blizzarded. So yeah, they're thinking that. They're thinking they blizzard and get out. So you have to be like, okay, they're going left, and this is all the scouting you have to be doing from up here. And then you set up an engagement from here. It's about just waiting for the opportunity, because right now we're kind of forcing an opportunity here, and they make the right call of just literally leaving. They're like, all right, you walled, like, you didn't wall anyone, but you did wall their access to the corner. So what are they gonna do? They're just gonna run over here and play this corner. So that I don't. They probably weren't thinking about that in the spot, but that's what they did. So from here, we can still make an engagement. Okay. I don't really have too much new to say about that. Like the B usage was okay, but I mean, I think you can tell me what the issue here was.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, let me ask you. I mean, obviously the placement of the beat was super dangerous, but what was the issue of how we utilize the beat?
We use that as escaping, but I mean, Noon kind of just shreds
Yeah.
from it. Most of our team was behind a wall too. It was mostly for myself and Ryan, which wasn't amazing.
The most important thing as Brawl is engaging at the same time. I would prefer you guys to almost like keep the poking to a minimum as long as we actually get clean engages. Obviously, we don't want to keep poking to a minimum, but at like the first time it happens, I want you guys to just like for instance, let's just go back. Like say this fight comes back up again. I don't want you guys doing this. This is bad. This is bad always because he's not really playing a corner. We want to be here. And yeah, you could be poking, but the first few times you do this, don't do that much poking because I want you guys to emphasize the clean engage. Because yeah, if we're here, we're not committed to the fight here because we know that they still have the option of going here. It's like what corners and high ground give us are just options to other things. Do you cook?
No.
So So I can make this example with cooking, with building, I guess. So say we're cooking, we sprinkle a little bit of salt, and we're like, okay, this is like a little bit salty. Maybe I want more. Sprinkle a little bit more. Okay, this is good. And from here, so the point I'm trying to get at is you sprinkle a little bit more salt, and then okay, this is the sweet spot. We want to be right here, and then okay, they make a rotation, boom. But if we're here, we just dump all the salt at once, and we can't go back. You know, you could always add more salt. You could always get more aggressive, but once you're here in open space, you're committed. You can't go back to this corner. You know, you put the salt in the chicken already. You can't take it out. It's too salty. You either have to, you know, live through it or throw it out. You know what I'm saying? With building, like if you're building, or if I should say, if you're, you know, deconstructing something, you can't like it's a lot harder to put it back than it is to take it out, right? So if you guys just literally state like it was a kind of convoluted example, but it's the same thing with high ground. It gives us the option to be like, okay, you know, this is a conservative angle, so AKA a little bit of salt, but I still have the option of, you know, putting, you know, the just amount of salt. Like say I'm gonna create at an off angle, like boom, this is perfect salt because I'm not committed. I can't go. It's not like if I try to go back, I'm fucked. But I'm doing a lot. I don't know. It was kind of a rambly example, but you know what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah, I
Like
get it.
from here we don't have options. Like we can't go back. But from here we can go. We can still do this. We can still go here in this rush. But it's just going to be more efficient because we also have the option to go from here or to wherever. That's what corners provide us. And you know, just as a leader of this brawl, which you kind of are, like you and Ryan are at least, you have to be like calling these things and getting our team aware of it. Like you're not the coach, but these are things that you should be aware of as a player. So yeah, we just kind of get boned there. Like they engage from a corner, we take too much poke before it starts, and then it's just over with. So they just have the advantage. And we also whiffed our males, but we're not gonna talk about that. Yeah, from here we're kind of screwed alt-wise, not gonna lie. So we'll just see what happens. So I think we're just using amp too early. We want to be using amp when?
Yeah, I didn't expect them to back up. I knew that was a mistake, and I fixed it in the second fight. We want to do it when we're about to engage. And the call was
Yeah.
speed noon, I think.
So a nice rule of thumb is, so yeah, obviously they're just gonna back up if you start amping onto them. So a nice rule of thumb is once your Rhine is like say here and he has the ability to do damage and start swinging, that's when you want to amp. It's kind of similar to Bubble, to Zari Bubble. You don't want to Zari Bubble him until he can actually be doing something. And yes, amp is a more macro ability than Bubble, but Rhine is like the meat of this team. Like he's the core. He's the reason this team even works. So, well, let me just go back to where you amped, like where you actually press the button. So instead of here, Ryan being here, I want Ryan to be here and ready to go. Ready to go. Oh, fuck. Yeah, unfortunate. We weren't quite aware of the May threat, or the Blizzard threat, I should say. Here, since we're just at such an alt disadvantage, our best bet is to do something similar that they did and kind of bait an alt, then speed away from it. Although theirs is a little bit more unintentional than intentional. Like if we're just playing this corner rather than engage, like yeah, we got walled, so that kind of screws our plans up. So I'm not gonna be too harsh here, but I'm gonna be harsh about that pin. That pin was an absolute throw because instead of being here, and then once the wall breaks, we could just go back to corner stabilize. We're like even if it's a step or two from that corner, we're still screwed. And I mean, yeah, you have no means of helping him here. You can have your heal on, but it's not gonna do shit. Just get out and reset. But that's how you should be kiting like a May ult or something. Like you want to be playing that corner and not committing until you either feel you could win it, no matter what, or when they May ult and you speed away. Again, it just gives you the options. You don't want to put too many eggs in one basket. You want to like have your options, you know.
Yeah.
Limitless.
Is there any other way to avoid that May ult besides just using amp out? Because then Orion kind of gets fucked because he's shielding and he's slow. So.
Well, obviously, it's just a tough situation. My best scenario is to, again, have this Kree going off angles, because that's one of the it is a micro thing, but it's a major, like, macro fundamental for this comp. Like, the Kree going off angles. Because this, all of a sudden, prevents them, especially their backline, from just running this way for free. Like, this McCree, he can't be here for free anymore. He either has to turn and deal with him, or just dip entirely. So what that does is that indirectly makes space for you guys. So instead of them being able to just free run at you, they have to think about, okay, I actually can't cross this angle because my McCree is there. So that's one way you can prevent just getting screwed by May ults. Or you can just set up from here. Your McCree should still be on an off angle, but actually, no, it's a combination of these two things. Kree wants to be, say, here or whatever, and you want to be playing from this corner because Blizzard is a LOS ability. If she Blizzard's here, it's not going to freeze you from here. So if you play these corners, and then once they start to actually amp on you, you want to match their amp out. Maybe not out, but this way.
Yeah, way.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, it's kind of tricky because it's such a powerful ability in this comp, or ultimate, I should say. Yeah, let's just see how we deal with this, because we're up. It's a 5v5, but we have the advantage because we killed the Rhine, and we still have ours. So we really don't want to rush this. I really hope we just stabilize for a second. Okay, this is fine. Okay, nice. That's somewhat clean. Could have been cleaner, but that's somewhat clean.
How could it have been cleaner? Wait longer? Or just don't charge into the window?
Well, yeah, that's definitely the charging part's definitely the
should have been on the wall there to the right.
Yeah.
I think.
So I mean, it is a pretty long rotation from here to here, so it's not that you really had an option. Yeah, I mean, it was clean enough. It was pretty much a cleanup engage. It wasn't really anything serious. Like the Ryan getting screwed kind of didn't look great, but whatever. Should have won this. Oh, we blizzarded. Like, guess we thought it was losable. Whatever. Let's get out of this fight. All right. This is where teams do, and then this is where teams die. Last fight, can't fuck up. Positioning is so important for these fights, so let's see what happens here. And if you actually look at the ults, like, yeah, they have mail, we don't, but it's not a huge discrepancy in ults here. We want to be juiced up, Ryan, come on. Okay, so we're looking for here. If we're looking for this, where does our Ron want to be playing? Here or closer?
Closer.
Closer, because he wants to actually be in swinging distance. And you're doing a really solid job because you're about to boop this Ron in, right?
Yeah.
Well, if
this whole team kind of gets through, though.
Yeah, the whole team gets through, and why does the whole team get through? Because who wasn't here?
Playing up.
Huh?
Ryan.
Yeah. Ryan is the choke abuser here. Like, yeah, the Maywall could get a cheeky split, but Ryan is the one that's going to stop them from walking. So, that gives you an easier opportunity to actually boop their Ryan. And so, we're here not a crazy amount you could have done from an individual level. But that was a pretty decent disengage. You know, it didn't work out because they killed you, because Blizzard's kind of broken.
Yeah, so like you keep saying like planning and like holding chokes. So part of planning should be like angles and chokes,
And
huh?
positioning. You like
Yeah, positioning.
where you want to play is arguably more important than what you want to use, because where you want to play is a constant every single fight thing. What you want to use, like for instance, in a neutral fight, you're not gonna have the option to use an ultimate, so you have to outposition the other team. Like you could get away with hitting a fat grab dragon, but if it wasn't that clean, you could still get away with it because it's just such a good ultimate. It's just a powerful ultimate. But when they have the ultimates and we're planning, if they have like a May ult, we want to be ready to get out. We don't want to be getting out as the May ult is happening. We want to be prepared to actually dip as soon as we can.
Yeah, like with a corner or amp.
Exactly.
Alright.
Holding the choke is huge for that, because if we dip and then they start to walk out, what are they walking out of? They're walking out of a choke. And this is really good for us, because once they kind of walk out, and if they keep going, they made the mistake that we're making the whole time in holding open space for too long. Now we have the option from, say we back out to here, we cut to here, whatever. We could speed on them from here to here because we're stabilized. It's all about finding the best engagement. Never look for the first engagement, because a lot of the time that's not, like, you're gonna find better opportunities throughout the fight. Do not jump on the first, fight you see, or the first engagements you see. Like if they're here, don't just be like, okay, go, 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 they're there. Like there's better spots to engage from. Like from here, Orion could just swing at the entire team, and a blizzard would probably freeze everyone. But when them playing from this choke gives Orion the same exact option to swing at everyone, and from here we can speed through and peek this corner as a team, whether that's with an ult or whatever. So as the planner, you want to be planning where to fight. Well, that was a nice little rollout. You almost made it.
I know. I
Holy
just
shit.
discovered that. I was like, shit, I can use that.
Alright. Expecting the same thing. Both teams.
No, this one's fun.
This map is fun.
The beginning.
Shit, oh shit. I went way too far. Okay. Here we go. Nice. We fight for this high ground, 100%. Yeah, so we just have a huge advantage because we got there first somehow. So now we're holding a choke, and they're screwed because we just wall off this Ryan's escape, and we obviously just screw him up. Oh shit, we got him instead. Yeah.
Surprised May didn't go off. Kind of pissed me off.
Oh, I thought May did go off. What the?
She hit the mini.
Yeah, I could have. Yeah, I saw her flying, but she got lucky. So yeah, easy. Now, let's think now. Where do we want to be setting up engage? So there's two options for them to come from. That's the first thing to think about. Actually, kind of three. What are the three ways they could go from here?
You either go left, main, or hookah.
Yep. Yep, exactly. Those are the three ways. So, the two most likely ones are main or hookah. So, we should be thinking about, okay, obviously we don't want to be playing here. Why?
Too open.
Well, too open, but they have the option to just go through hookah.
Yeah.
They don't have to fight you here. We want to be looking, or the first part is scouting. So like playing here and like maybe softly, poking here. That's totally fine, because you're preparing for the fight. You're poking, but you're preparing for the fight because you're scouting. If we scout hookah, okay, we want to set up where? Our Ryan in particular.
I was like, I think at some point I called, hey, can we hold hookah, and if they rotate main, we can rotate with them and meet.
Yeah, that's great.
I don't know if that's a good plan,
No,
or hold high ground.
That's pretty much perfect, because I mean from high ground, it's not great, because from here, what engagement can we really make? There's not many clean engagements you can make. Like we could
Kind of just meeting people.
Well, yeah, we could start here super early on, but we have to get scouting information really quickly. Like we don't want to stay here at all. We want to meet them, like you said, either here. They could rotate here. We want to meet them there. We want to meet them here. We want to meet them here. And if they go there, we want to meet them here. Like, if you actually see the trend, what's what's, you know, what's the same about this, and this? What are they all?
Angles. Chokes.
Well, everything's an angle, I guess, but they're all chokes specifically. Yeah. They're hard chokes, and we're really good at abusing chokes as this team. So, if like the only choke that we're not contesting is up here, but we don't even let them go through. We don't let them even get to high ground because we actually just hold them here. Because we could wall this rotation whenever we want. So, we want to be holding, we want to be meeting them whichever choke they go through. So, that's going to require scouting from someone and an actual plan. So let's see from here. This is it. Let's see if this example applies. If we're late to meeting them there, all of a sudden they have the positional advantage. Or at least the corner advantage. So yeah, it looks like they're going high ground. So they're just asking to get cornered. Or choked, I should say. So yeah, we just wall that. So they made a pretty bad mistake in my opinion. Like there wasn't much they could do. Like it's not like they could engage from you here to here. Like their only option is to go through these stairs through that super tight choke. But I would argue that you could just chill on point, honestly, and make
play under.
Yeah, just play under. And then if someone drops, you just engage on them. So I would maintain angles as your contesting point if I'm the enemy team. But, I mean, going through here is just so scary. I mean, not only because of boops, because the wall, because the choke. And then it's... Oh, shit, we died. What the fuck? So, yeah, let's see what happens. So, May, unlucky. Okay. So, notice how we're not really holding this choke as a team. We're holding this open space. And that means Ryan just has no option to stabilize. Also, this angle by their Kree screwed us up pretty bad. So just notice how angles and chokes are like the name of the game with this comp. Like we want to be abusing and holding chokes or corners. And then our Kree, and again, I know it's a micro thing, but it's like a super important part of the comp. Our Kree has to be set up in some sort of angle at the same time as we're threatening them. Like our Kree doesn't want to just be like flanking them out of nowhere. It wants to be timed. Like the trace, like say we're dive, the tracer doesn't want to just be, you know, dueling a backline member off the bat. She wants to wait for her monkey so then they could jump in together. It's kind of like that, but except McCree has the option of angles and range. So, yeah, we kind of just got boned there. Not again, like this comp is not a whole lot of individual stuff to really just like hone into. The two main things are Reinhardt's positioning and McCree's angles. Those are like the two main things easily, and you're not either one of them, so it's not like that's like a direct thing for you to work on. But if you're going to be calling, these are super important things for you to make sure that are happening. Like obviously you could use your eyes to see where the Ryan is, but Kree, like he has to be on the same page as a whole team. He has to be like, yep, like I'm threatening, you know, backline, whatever. He doesn't have to say that, but he has to at least be doing that. Yeah, this is a fine rotation. I think we're, if you take high ground, it's going to be scary. Oh, shit. Okay. This is a plan. I'm guessing, was our initial plan to go high ground or to go main onto point?
It was like, yeah, go high ground. We saw the window and we just said, fuck it, play under.
Yeah, beautiful. This is how I want to be playing Brawl. Like, these quick decisions are super important. So from here, we want to have a better position because we're all just clumped up. And again, stacking S6 is just a no-no in general, even though we're Brawl. But these are the spontaneous, quick decisions that are necessary to be a good Brawl team. But from here, what do we want to do? That's what we have to decide.
Punish drop.
Huh?
Punish drop.
Yeah, we want to punish drop, but we actually have to make it clear what we're trying to do. We could punish drop. We could be super cheeky and just come from the other side of the high ground. If we really wanted to. That would be a long rotation, but these are things we have to be thinking about. Like, where do we want to go and what do we want to do? So we actually just flipped the map. I don't know if it was subconsciously or not, but we flipped the map And now we have positional advantage because their tanks, or Ryan in specific, is in open space, and our Ryan is just holding this choke here.
I probably shouldn't have used beat there though, huh?
I mean, yeah, I actually wasn't really paying attention.
I wanted a hard engage, but I didn't realize that it was only Ryan that dropped.
Yeah.
I thought he would have dropped. So.
Yeah, it's a huge deal, honestly. Like, yeah, you would like to beat. But that's like a mistake that you know is a mistake, and you. Like,
yeah.
Like, so that's not what I'm super worried about here. So okay, so where do we want to hold? Okay, we're scouting. Our diva's like they're coming through hookah. They're coming through hookah. She probably said this like way sooner. So our team has to be on that. Specifically, you, comm-wise, has to be on that, because the Ryan's the one we really want here. But if you're gonna again plan and fight plan, this is the stuff that we need to be like making sure is happening. But again, I think they make him another like yeah, most of the time they're gonna be fighting for this. This is unfortunate. Most of the time they're gonna be fighting for this high ground, but it's just more powerful to have our backline set up on high ground and them in the choke and our Ryan abusing it, right? Rather than giving them somewhat of an equal fight here. So we just. Oh wait, we lived. How do we live?
We lived for a second because of MR.
I didn't even see that. Okay, so.
I kind of considered myself dead though because of the hammer.
Yeah.
So at that point, should we have met them at hookah, or?
Well, I mean, you could hold this high ground if you really want. Like, I'm absolutely not against it. I just think it's a mistake for them to go up there in the first place. So I believe that you should hold them at hookah here, with the Mei and Ryan specifically, and then Krieg could kind of do what he wants, but with the Mei and Ryan specifically. So if they start to go to high ground, we could wall it and swing, and then we have our backline kind of popping off. We just have to make sure, since our Ryan is here, that they don't just go high ground for free, right? Like that's what we want to make sure doesn't happen. And if they do, we have to get out of here. We just have to give it to them and play angles at that point. But if they do come high ground like they have been doing, we have to hold this a little bit tighter. So like holding shield for this long is not good, and then dropping here also just threw it away. Is this a different fight? Wait, what the where
It's
did you get
after
pinned
I
from?
died.
Okay. So yeah, let's just restart this fight. So once again, I believe you should meet them here.
Okay, yeah.
I
called
really,
it and they said to hold high ground, so.
Yeah. Because it's like it's even poke, so I mean, it's not like someone has like a huge poke advantage, or anything like that. So you want to be using positional advantage. So this bomb is scary. This is actually a nice engage from them. But what we like, the point of this bomb is to do what to us? Is to open us up.
Yeah.
So that's kind of exactly what we let happen. Like, it's just such a hard spot because as Ryan, you're like, oh shit, I want to be blocking for my team from this bomb, but I also have to be abusing choke. So let's pretend you don't get pinned, right? Let's just pretend we're right here, and then 3, 2, we hear Diva Bomb. There's a few things you could do. The most spontaneous, like you're gonna have to make some sort of quick decision here, really, really quickly too. Like in theory, I would probably say just rushing through this is your best bet to avoid the bomb. But like, this is like super technical. Like it's tough. Like it's hard to make these plans on the spot, or to make these calls on the spot.
It's hard because that's kind of on me.
Yeah, like it's just that's why this game is so hard, and like being on the same page is so hard. I don't want you to be looking at that and being like, okay, I should improve that. Focus on the super simple stuff, because the more you get, like the more you do and call these, little things like meet them here, meet them there, blah blah blah. You're just gonna become more knowledgeable about the game, and then naturally, if you naturally you're gonna read, okay, that diva bomb's going this way. Speed, 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 in. Like you're gonna be making those reads that most humans are not able to do. Like I would not be able to read that at all. No shot. Like if and I was like a shot caller back in the day. Like if I would have saw that, I would not really know what to do on the spot. But the more you practice that, the more natural it's gonna come to you. Again,
Hmm.
most humans are not gonna be able to read that. Some are, not because they're super genius smart, but they've seen those situations so many times. Up, Diva Bomb going behind us. Let's feed into them. You know, so that's not what I want you to be looking at. I want you to be looking at how we even got in the situation in the first place. Because if we're here and then they Diva Bomb, it's a lot simpler. All right, we just
Back
aggro
up
onto
or
them.
go in.
Yeah, exactly. It's a simpler situation. But since we're on high ground, it's like, okay, should we drop? Should we give it up? We're about to fight here. So many things racing through everyone's mind. It's tough. Like, but yeah, I mean, the other team is pretty good, honestly. Like, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of the stuff they're doing, their engagements, their angles from the McCree, they're solid. Their rotations. So the enemy team's actually playing this well, but we could easily
Yeah.
beat this team. Like, I respect you guys are playing up to a higher SR. That's pog as fuck. That's how you get to improve.
We
But
rolled the first 3 or 4 maps, and then the last
against
maps
them,
were rougher. Yeah.
nice. Holy shit. Wait, so you guys played 6 maps. You rolled the first 3 or 4 or whatever,
Let
or
me see.
3.
We won Kings. We won Nepal. Uh, we won Nepal. We won Kings. We won Root, Oasis, Jib, and Real.
Okay, so you gave this team a run for their money at least. You kind of
Yeah.
fucked them up apparently. So I actually would low key be interested in my own time to see what you guys were doing to actually win against this team. Um. So yeah, but that's a whole nother story. Um. So again, like we're kind of in the same predicament here. So yeah, we absolutely just botch amp. I'm not gonna hold you. We absolutely just botch amp here. So
Yeah. I was just more concerned about dying.
no, you're good. You're good.
I
But yeah,
feed.
it's like I mean, yeah, we're just not. We're going in with a certified plan. Like we may have a alt plan, but in my opinion, positioning and plans are just more crucial. A lot of really, really good teams, like Owl teams, like they don't really have to plan the positioning as much because they kind of understand it more. But here, like we have really good players, but oh fuck,
Oh, shit.
what?
Well, that explains not being able to hear you.
Wait, what happened? Could you just not hear me the whole time?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Well, whatever. Um. My bad, dude. Holy shit. Um. That was awkward.
Huh.
So
That's weird.
yeah, my Ethernet thing just kind of messed up. College, I guess. I don't know. Anyways. Um. Yeah, kind of overviewing points
Yeah,
here.
I still can't hear you. Shit.
Wait, you can't hear me?
I can now.
You can now? Hold on. Let me
Yeah.
just fix it for good. Hold on. Okay, am I good now?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm good to go. So, honestly, I mean, a lot of it is fundamental basic things. Like I said, like at least 10 times already this video, you guys are like good players. Like, especially you have good like movement, like you know what you're doing, with the high grounds or whatever. I'm not really worried about that. Yes, there are micro things to go into for you, but I think the most important thing, especially as a shot caller, because that kind of is your role in this, like micro wise, I guess that's kind of your role. But it's just planning where you want the fight to be. Especially on defense, you have that power. You could plan and you could control where the fight starts. So whether that's a choke, a corner, that's where you want to be doing it from. So I mean, I do apologize that it wasn't as like Lucio centric than it could have been. It was more shot caller centric, if that makes sense. I think personally that'll be more beneficial to your team, especially immediately. Like, yeah, we could have gone into your amp timings, but a lot of that has to do with macro team stuff.
Hmm.
If you want to go into like a super micro like analysis, I actually recommend we do a comp game instead. We we
Okay.
look we look at a comp game instead. So we could do that for another time if that's something you're interested in. But otherwise, do you have any questions?
Uh, no, but it is good to know that the macro is more important at this point. But if we do
Yeah.
VOD again, I think I'll want to do columns.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna upload this whenever it uploads, probably 2-3 hours, something like that. As for notes and stuff, I'm gonna send you the comp or the brawl comp document that it's like somewhat structured, but it's something that I can improve on. I'm gonna send you that, and that has a lot of the main points that I mentioned, right? Like coming through corners, abusing chokes and stuff. Like for a quick read rather than for you to actually study. Like
Yeah.
just to get a little better understanding. But yeah, I mean that's that. If you don't have any questions, that's Pog. Um, if you want to set up another review, I'm always here. But again, if it's micro, I would recommend we look at a comp game because
Okay.
there's a bunch of stuff that we could look at there. But anyways, I'll send you the link later for the video, and yeah, see you guys.
Yeah. Sounds good. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Peace, you too. All right, all right, all right.